Besides Puerto Rico, Cuba was one of the last colonies of Spain in the Western Hemisphere. It was governed from Madrid, much as it had been governed since it was first occupied and settled by the Spaniards in 1511. At that time, Cuba was evolving from a slowly growing colony into the world's leading sugar producer. When Spain began to increase taxation and economic crisis began to rise, a group of planters, cattlemen, and other patriots protested for their independence. Thus began the 10 Years' War. Cubans were unable to overthrow the Spanish power in the island. By this time, the nationalistic spirit, ignited and solidified by the 10 Years' War, had brought forth an organized pro-independence movement such as had never been seen in Cuba before. Its inspirational guide and promoter was Jose Marti, a middle-class poet and journalist. He had sparked several uprisings on the east side of the island, but none were enough to stop the Spanish Empire. He was killed in one of the first few battles. The United States watched with interest as Cuba struggled for independence. It had millions of dollars invested in businesses in Cuba, and there were many U.S. citizens and residents there. It had also traded goods with Cuba. In 1898, the United States assisted in war to protect its citizens and businesses in Cuba. The United States declared war on Spain after the U.S. warship, the Maine, exploded and sank on February 15th while visiting Havana, Cuba. No one really knows what caused the warship to explode, but the U.S. blamed Spain. This war was known as the Spanish-American War. The first major battle was fought in the harbor of Manila, located in the Philippine Islands. Commodore George Dewey led the U.S. Naval Squadron and destroyed the anchored Spanish fleet in an allegedly morning engagement that cost only 7 American seamen wounded. The Spanish Caribbean fleet under Admiral Pascal Serbia was located in Santiago Harbor in Cuba. An army of regular troops and volunteers under General William Schaffer, including Theodore Roosevelt and his first volunteer cavalry, the Rough Riders, landed on the coast east of Santiago and slowly advanced on the city in an effort to force Serbia's fleet out of the harbor. Serbia led his squadron out of Santiago on July 3rd and tried to escape westward along the coast. In the ensuing battle, all of his ships came under heavy fire from U.S. guns and were beached in a burning or sinking condition. Serbia surrendered to Schaffer on July 17th, thus effectively ending the war. On December 10, 1898, Spain and U.S. signed the Treaty of Paris, renouncing all claim to Cuba, ceded Guam and Puerto Rico to the U.S., and transferred sovereignty over the Philippines to the U.S. for $20 million. In recent years, Presidents Obama and Castro took some extraordinary steps to normalize bilateral relations, meeting each other, restoring full diplomatic ties, and easing travel restrictions, among others. However, it remains unclear if Donald J. Trump's administration will continue the peace and whether the Republican-controlled U.S. Congress will lift the decades-old trade embargo.